Well, hello everyone. How you doing today? It's Chef John. We are back once again for a new exciting recipe. Today, let's take a trip to Italy. We're going to be preparing shrimp and spinach risotto. Risotto is a North Italian type of rice, and you basically cook it with chicken broth or either white wine. So you can either do it all chicken broth, you can mix it together. Risotto takes about 30 minutes to cook. So we're gonna start the process right away. I'm excited about today's recipe. Risotto is a dish that you can pretty much mix with anything as far as the risotto rice. So let's get started. As normal, I have everything pre-measured for you. So we're gonna start off with 3.5 cups of chicken broth, low sodium chicken broth. So we're gonna get this warming up because we need this for the process of the risotto. So we're gonna get that started. So while that's cooking, while that's warming up, I'm gonna start my skillet, and we're gonna take 1 tablespoon of butter and we're gonna pour it into the skillet. I forgot to turn it off. Okay, we're gonna turn it right there. So now I'm gonna stand over a little bit to the stove so you can see everything that's going on. You can see all the ingredients. Okay, very good. So we're gonna start with 1 tablespoon of butter. And in that tablespoon of butter, we're gonna add in the mushrooms and the onions. So I did about 5 mushrooms that we're gonna saute in. So as the butter melts, it's fine, you can pour it in there right now. I'm gonna put about 5 mushrooms I chopped up kind of coarsely. And of course, we're gonna just kind of stir them around. Let's just get this butter going real good. You can chop them finer, or you can just slice them if you would like to. And then once we get that going, we're gonna take, I used 1 small onion. So that's gonna also be going into the skillet. So we're gonna just kind of sprinkle all that in right away. The first time I did risotto, it was so great, I had to just try it again. So I looked up different risotto recipes, and there are just so many different recipes that you can use. You can put asparagus in it, you can put kale in it, you can use it with lobster, you can use it with chicken, any type of meat. So basically, once we get this started, so we just let this saute for a little bit. I'm gonna turn it up a little bit higher so we can move a little bit quicker here. So once you get that going, let's get all that going. Then we're gonna add in the garlic. So with risotto, it is made with a rice called arborio rice. And arborio rice is a really fluffy rice, fluffy, creamy textured rice. So you can get this at any store, pretty much. Okay, and I actually use 1 cup of rice. So it will be adding a little bit at a time. So, and also, while I have all of this going on, I'm also going to start my shrimp. So we're going to turn on my back eye, and I'm going to just use a little olive oil and just spread my skillet, because we got to have that to go in it as well. And I'm going to season my shrimp. Hope you can see me. Yes, you can see. I have 1 pound of shrimp. You got a little large shrimp and some extra large shrimp mixed together. So I'm just gonna add just a little Italian season to it. So that's gonna be going in my skillet, but we need them to be done when we get ready to put everything together. So now this is pretty much melted, and we are ready to add. So basically, you want your onions just to get a nice clear texture to it. So now we're gonna add in our garlic. So basically, you can use 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. I don't know if you guys remember, but once before I told you I'm actually allergic to garlic. So I always buy my garlic already chopped up. So I put 3 tablespoons of garlic in here. So that's gonna give it some great flavor. So now we're gonna just saute all this together. We're gonna let our chicken broth continue to heat up. This already is smelling so great. Before we even get started good. So with your risotto dish, you could also have another vegetable, something on the side. So like today, I'm gonna actually cook some extra spinach to go on the side as a side dish for my risotto. So now, it's been about 3 minutes. So our garlic and onions and mushrooms in the butter, and the 1 tablespoon of butter is nice and brown and tender. I actually added some more mushrooms. So now we're gonna add here now 1 cup of our burial rice. You're gonna just kind of spread it all around in your skillet. Okay, and we're just kind of gonna let that stir that in for a couple of minutes. 2 to 3 minutes, we're gonna stir this rice. Let it soak up all that good butter and the garlic and the onions. So now this is how your rice is gonna have a great flavor to it. This just takes a little bit more patience. So while that's doing that, I'm gonna actually add my shrimp into my skillet back here. And this is something, if you want to, you can always pre-cook your shrimp and just have them sitting on the side. But this way I feel you guys can actually see everything that's happening at the same time. So, you know, these will only take about maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And once again, these are cook the rice for about 2 to 3 minutes. Like I was saying, you can easily cook the shrimp earlier or before you actually get started with it if it's too much for you to handle. And sometimes there's maybe too much going on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put half of our stock into the rice. Actually, I'm going to just pick up my skillet. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. We're going to pour about half of it in there. Now we're going to just continue to stir this. So we're going to stir this until all of the moisture is gone, then we're going to add some more. So you basically just want this to cook at a nice medium heat. As you can see, it's soaking it up. So when you cook risotto, you can't be in a hurry because it does take time. So we're going to make sure this is turned down real good. We're going to just keep stirring this until all of the moisture is gone. Turn down my broth a little bit. But it doesn't have to be boiling, just as long as it's warm. So you see almost all the moisture is almost all gone. Hope you guys can see this well. Let me pull the camera a little bit closer. There we go. Okay. Okay. You know, when you go to a fine Italian restaurant, a lot of times they would have risotto. So see, this is almost soaked up from all the moisture. It's a really nice fluffy rice. So now we're going to pour in just a little bit more. Not all of it, just a little bit, about a half a cup. We're going to pour in about a half a cup at a time and keep stirring it. Just let it continue to soak up all of the juice, all of the liquid I should say. Until it'll be about 20 minutes. So we're going to check on our shrimp. They're cooking really nice. Remember, I just added a little bit of Italian seasoning to it. Okay. We just keep stirring our risotto. Low sodium chicken broth because you don't want it to get too salty. So you actually don't have to add any other salt into this because we're already using chicken broth. So don't add any other salt unless you just love salt. But make sure you salt it to taste if you have to. But you really shouldn't have to use any salt at all in this because the chicken broth. And then I'm actually going to add in some cracked pepper while that's cooking. If you ever get a chance, buy fresh cracked pepper. It makes such a huge difference. I know most of us don't do that. But if you ever have any, you'll see the difference right away. So remember, we have onions, we have garlic in this. So it's already so full of flavor. So as you see, almost all the moisture is gone once again. Like I said, it takes about 15-20 minutes to make risotto. And once again, you know that you can pick up the written menu, the printed menu at the library, in case I did miss something today. So now we're going to add a little bit more chicken broth, about another half a cup of chicken broth. Like I said, we're not going to rush this, that's for sure. You have to let it take its time, because that's the only way it's going to absorb all of the goodness. Okay. So let me toss my shrimp one more time. And she's going to get me some tongs. So I can just kind of toss this around a little bit. Make sure your shrimp are nice and pink on both sides. Okay. It's coming along just marvelous. I'm listening to my jazz. It's a nice, beautiful spring, almost spring day. Guys, you know that this weekend we spring ahead. So now the days will get longer, and we know that spring is right around the corner. The coronavirus is lifting. They're lifting some of the restrictions. I hope most of you guys have gotten your vaccinations, but that's what's going to make the difference in this country. So as we see, it's still soaking up all the liquids. Hopefully you can see that the granules are actually getting bigger and bigger. My wife loves risotto, so she's out right now. So when she comes home and walk in and she's going to smell that risotto cooking, she's going to be a happy camper. Now if you want to get real rich, you can even add a little butter into your shrimp if you like. I'm trying to watch all the cholesterol and all the salt and all that good stuff. So I didn't use any butter there. I took the light way since this already has butter in it. Risotto is a rich dish for sure. And this is a nice dish to cook for your wife or your spouse. I'm saying wife, but for your spouse. So a man or a woman could cook this as a nice special dish, a nice date night dish. Especially during Corona, you may not want to go to the restaurant, so you can come home and have a wonderful restaurant-style meal. Have a glass of wine. It'll be a great evening. Okay, so now I'm gonna add just a little bit more. About another half a cup. I'm gonna turn up just a little bit. Okay, so my shrimp are basically done. We still have a ways to go, so I think I'm gonna just turn them off. I'll be mixing them into the hot risotto, so that will definitely finish cooking them all off really well. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the shrimp off. Just let them sit right there in the skillet. And we're gonna just continue to stir the risotto. My wife also loves mushroom. I already know she's gonna say, where's the rest of the mushrooms? So I may add a few more mushrooms in. It doesn't take them but a few minutes to cook. This is such a great dish. So I have a bottle of wine in the refrigerator. Pull out the nice glasses. We can sit and have us a great meal. A great restaurant quality meal. I have really been enjoying doing these videos for you all. I hope it's helped in your cooking journey. And as I said once before, if there's any particular recipe that you would like for me to prepare, just contact the Dalton Library and we can maybe start a list or something and we can just take it from there. Okay, it's cooking great.